housing and homelessness is such a huge issue. One of the things, so just to go into our story quickly, at the time we were renters and we came home and our home was condemned. And the issue with our property, it was electrical and a few other things that was going to be too much to be fixed in an amount of time. So no one else had any properties available. Even though, I have family who's owned properties in this community for years, there just was nothing available. So we ended up having to go through the systems of Kalamazoo. And it really just helped to shape and allow us to see some of those gaps in those areas. And so for us, it wasn't an income situation. And so it allowed, me to see, the narrative around homelessness. It's not always because people don't have the income. There are other barriers that come into play. So, we had a friend of ours, or a friend of his who became a friend of ours, who opened up their home to us. So we were able to live in their basement for, probably a year and a half. But in that year and a half, we spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, weeks, when you're trying to apply for units and, not finding out that we were not approved, bringing our children, watching the disappointment with them. Finally, we stopped bringing them with us because it was so devastating because they're still in school at the time. So having to balance all that, navigate, still try to do work because we're doing community work at that time. Around that time, I got my real estate license. And so going down this path thinking I'm going to start buying and selling homes and coming back and we're in the most insecure housing situation we've ever been in. And so heading down that path of finding what those gaps are, finding out that there was discrimination happening with criminal backgrounds that already was on the books from 2016, finding out that, people weren't necessarily practicing that, and all of those other gaps. And so that is what catapulted that. Actually, Ed and I, we hosted an event, Fair Housing and Mass Incarceration, several years ago. And that was the first time we put something on to kind of present to the community to see how these things intersect. And now, September 8th will be the final read of that housing equity ordinance that by no means will fix everything, but it's just, again, an actionable step in the direction, so we don't have to keep saying equity and talking about equity. We can actually show it by the policies and practices we have in place here.